Welcome to Otakin with Dave, coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're well. I am top shelf. And I got good news, man. It's a trend. It hasn't happened yet, but I can see some positive changes. I'm going to dig in on this whole depussification of the American male. I talked earlier in another podcast about what's happening to all the men. And it's really frustrating, but I'm seeing signs. It's still a problem. Don't get me wrong. I think it's probably more serious than people just hanging out in the passing lane, which infuriates me still. But I was back in Solana Beach, my old stomping grounds. I'd had a couple of gigs last weekend, and it's very prevalent there. The whole pussification of the American male, very prevalent there. Now, when I talk about this today, don't forget a couple of things, all right? I am not blaming women for this problem. I'm not. I love women. I love my mama. I love my wife. I love my sisters and my daughter. I love Cece, my son's girlfriend. All my girlfriends out there. All my girlfriends. And I'm talking platonic. Anyway, I don't blame them. No, I don't blame them. It's the men's fault. And also, I'm not talking about gay men. Like I said before, my gay male friends, they'll kick your ass. They are not pussified, if you will. I mean, just by sheer circumstances, they're not. I'm talking about, I hold the men responsible for relinquishing all their testicular fortitude to another party due to his desire to either get along or get something else or, come on. But that's what I'm talking about. And women, I need your help. I need you to speak up. And you are. That's the cool thing. Women are making my case for me in a lot of situations. But this whole trend that's been going on, and I covered it, I think, pretty well for especially the last 30 years. A lot of people would even call it henpeckery and pussification. Look those up. Yeah, I had to wait till my mom passed away to do this one. She would be very upset with just my terminology. So this one's been coming for a while. However, I see some positive trends. But this is not just my opinion. I gave a lot of facts and figures in the one where I talked about what happened to all the men. Come on. So let's just talk about it. I'll point out 5 reasons or 5 examples of how men are softer. Just, there's less physical labor and strength. A lot of jobs now, just in the labor market, they've transitioned more from a physical labor, like, farming and construction and hard work in manufacturing. Now they're office-based or technology-driven. So it's reduced the emphasis on that physical toughness. Yeah. Well, okay, there you go. And then the demand or request or plea for more emotional expression on the part of men. I don't know, I don't think any fair-minded person can deny that. Men are encouraged to be more in touch with their emotions, express vulnerability, and prioritize their mental health and wellness. And yes, I'm making fun. I'm not of the situation because, more of the situation, not the condition, because, hey, older generations, They valued that tough guy, maybe a little more stoic. And, we've talked to that. I think it's good for a man to be aware of their emotions and express vulnerability. That's one of my power boosters, man. Show some vulnerability. However, don't be such a wimp about it. I mean, young men need strong men as an example. Women don't want to be, they just don't want to sit in a corner, watch chick flicks and eat pecan sandies and drink Dr. Pepper and whimper with their man. Come on. So, but that's a mainstay now, more emotional expression. Also, you've got some changing roles here. The traditional male role, and I realize economics are such, it used to be the woman stayed home, the man went to work. The woman took care of the house and the kids, and the men earned a paycheck. Hey, whatever. I know now the economics really, a lot of times you have to have those two incomes. Also, the traditional role, though, was the man is the protector. Yeah. Well, now, and men have let it happen, it's more equal. And I believe in equality. However, I'm still traditional enough to where the man should protect his wife and family. I believe in that. I always have. You can share responsibilities, you can share income, you can do all that. But I think when it comes right down to it, the man should be the protector. That's not always the case now. My goodness. And even if it is the case in social roles, they're just cowering down in corners, And you can, Mr. Mom, great movie. However, a stay-at-home dad, if it necessitates that, okay. But don't do it. Don't do it because you don't have a choice, dude. But there are some changing gender roles, and I get some of them. But sometimes, man's gotta step up and be the man of the house. Then you got less emphasis on competition and aggression. I like a little, get that testosterone flowing, get that growl going. But society is teaching men to not be so competitive. Why are you so competitive? Why are you so aggressive? Why can't we collaborate? You can be aggressive and competitive and still have emotional intelligence, You can still, you don't have to settle everything with brute strength and fight it out and dominate. But also you don't have to just go along and get along. Let's stand up. Let's stand up for what we believe in. But there's less emphasis on that. Working and playing well with others is above winning. Well, I'm telling you, that attitude is going to make winning tough to do. But then also you've got just some traditional stuff. I remember growing up and, I'm not the manliest guy. I got on a Carhartt shirt. By God, how about that? That's a pretty manly shirt. I got some stuffed animals around here somewhere. So I'm not saying I'm the most manly guy, but I remember my dad growing up. I mean, you fix stuff around the house. Something was broken, we fixed it, partly because we didn't have the money. But I remember working on a car, handing tools. That's a rite of passage for a young guy. Just general stuff, yard work, doing the heavy lifting. That's it. And then for fun, hunting, fishing, I don't know, crank up a lathe and make a spindle. I don't know, but that's less common now because, a lot of it's because it's urbanized. That's one of the things I don't know. It's not a regret. One thing I wish is my kids had access to a farm like I did growing up. Go to my granddad's house, go to Papa's house and hang out on the farm and just do nothing all day and be dead tired at night because you're roaming, you feed the animals, you're doing whatever. And it's just, I love that. My kids are a generation away from that. And I think that's more common with the whole urbanization. Plus things are technology and everything's taking over. And that's a good thing, honestly. However, these roles, traditional roles, are going away for men. over the last 30 years. And I've done a lot on this. I mean, I talked about where did all the men go, toxic masculinity, all of that. It's a problem. It is a problem. And so in these roles, you can see it happening. And it's just, the perception. It's not just a perception, but if you look at it, there's a lot less masculinity in a lot of the normal things for men. For example, hobbies. Gaming and esports. What's an esport? They're taking over rather than, going out and doing, manly stuff, like going out and pick up a game of football or basketball, or forget boxing or wrestling or martial arts. My wife's doing kickboxing now, and it's mostly women. There's a few men in there, and that's great, but it's mostly women because, but so that the whole gaming and combat sports is being taken over by, I don't even know the latest gaming console or whatever that is. Also, we used to, go out and work on cars, go polish up the tools and clean out the garage and do manly stuff. Now, men are collecting things, collecting sneakers and action figures, comic books. Men are doing that. I would say that's less rugged, and if you're into it, that's great. I mean, and I know most of you guys are more manly than me. There's nothing wrong with collecting comic books, but this is just an indicator to prove, we're a little less manly. Also, the goodness gracious, I'm getting overrun. The other day, I said, and this is not going to sound manly at all. My lips were chapped. I was up in northern Nevada, and the wind was by. I need some Carmex or some lip balm, because my lips were cracking open. And I said, my goodness, if my lips are doing this, my whole face is probably going to crack open. Just a couple of comments, throwaway comments. My ads for men's skincare products, over the top. And when you've got this much face, they probably looked at my profile pic and thought, we got to get this guy to buy some skincare products. Beef tallow. You seeing these? Beef tallow. I thought you cooked with tallow, and then I see it. No, people are rubbing it all over their face. And I'm talking about it now, so it's probably going to double up and triple up. But there's an increased obsession by men with, a fashion. I like a good pair of shoes. I've got a lot of band shirts and flannels and all that, but also skincare. The time that men are spending on fashion trends and skincare and grooming, over the top. And those things were traditionally, hey, everybody wants to look good. That's fine. When you look like that, maybe I should spend more time. It's just so much more than it used to be. There's no handyman work. A lot less DIY. Now, I got some friends. I mean, you can find anything on YouTube now. You can figure out how to do it. It'll show you. But fewer people are, doing the home improvement stuff. They're paying to have it done. There's less people doing woodworking. They're paying for the finished product. Fewer people are working on their cars. I've said work on the car several times. My goodness, I don't think I've raised the hood on my truck, and I don't know how long. But that used to be fun, and you do it. Preventive maintenance, that kind of stuff. You're hiring to have it done. You're hiring, and I do. I'll start a project, and I may have to hire somebody to finish it. But that's more common now because men are less manly. Yeah, and two, men are participating more in just a lot of the, how do I say, just like the creative stuff. And I'm not talking about writing songs, stuff like that. That's fantastic. But, pottery classes. They're taking classes, pottery and painting and dancing. And I'm not talking about just line dancing. I'm talking about dancing, There's a lot more men. And it's just, this is traceable and trackable. Older generation, the manly men, Yeah, come on. Please, we'll do metalworking or carpentry. Okay, yeah, carpentry, something like that. We'll build something. And even the sports. I talked earlier about the combat sports. I mean, you've got less and less people doing the boxing and wrestling. I mean, UFC's really big, but you have a lot of the same people, and that's a special breed there. You've seen the slap sport lately? Where I think you get 3 slaps or something. That's going to be even bigger than UFC eventually. That's what Dana White said. But they should call it something slapping. It's more people more interested now in. I love tennis and golf. Well, that's not the most manly stuff, but also pickleball. Pickleball. I posted something the other day. I said beer pong is more of a sport than pickleball. You would have thought I told some big Jesus joke in Bethlehem. Oh, people were all over me. And so, I did it to be somewhat provocative. I was more touting the athletic ability it takes to be really good at beer pong. Well, come on. It's a sport. I mean, come on. Hey, serious. And the more you play it, the more you got to hang in there. Yeah. But you would think that I broke some sacred vow. Pickleball's all right. It's not as great as everybody's acting. My goodness, all that. And you know what gets me? Here's another one. And I don't care. I'm saying it. I go through Solana Beach, and the cycling, at some point, I'm going to be on the news. I'm going to take out a Peloton. But I saw a new trend this time. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't lived there in almost 2 years. They got to me, man. They just look silly. You got grown-ass men dressing up in their little outfits with their little clicky shoes. And if a group of them, we're going through Encinitas, and you got a lot of stop signs and a couple of stop lights. On the stop signs, they give them the whole lane in Encinitas. And going through Cardiff and up there, it's common in California. Give them the whole lane. Well, buddy, if you get the whole lane, you and all your other little tarts and your costumes and those hats, and the guy, some of them have those little bitty rectangular mirrors sticking out. What are you doing? Why can't you just look? I mean, you're out in the, and some of them have the speaker things where they can talk to each other. There's no motor, man. Just say, hey, Joe, you want to stop at Starbucks? You don't have to communicate electronically. But if you're going through there and I've got to stop for you, you should stop at those stop signs. You shouldn't just do whatever. And then one of them always does the hand motions, and all this. They have their own secret code. I'm not paranoid, but I think they're talking about me some of the time, especially when I'm behind them. But stop at the stop signs. Don't just bum rush through a little town. People trying to walk out. People have the right of way to walk, and my goodness, here comes Ben-Hur down the freaking highway. And they stop at they'll stop at the stop lights when it's a busy lane, and they'll kind of cock themselves sideways and they'll look around and shake their hands. Well, wait a minute, what are you shaking your hand and blow? You're riding a bicycle. I know, it's tougher. David, you don't know what you're talking about. Cycling is a serious sport, and it's very difficult. Well, get out of my way. I'm trying to get to my breakfast here, and you're all in the way. And just the bloviating. And then you ride on the sidewalk? That should be jail time. But it was so bad. And you know what I saw this time? It wasn't prevalent when I lived there, but I saw like 6 of them. They're all dressed up in their outfits, and it's a man and woman on a bicycle built for 2. I told someone, when did all this happen? And someone very snarky looked at me and, it's tandem. It's tandem. Don't call it tandem. It's a bicycle built for 2. They had those for years. Tandem, my ass. And then I guarantee you that was not the man's idea. Thus, the pussification. Oh, that man didn't say, honey, I want to go cycling. I want to put on my leotard and go cycling. I got a new helmet and I got a new little mirror. But it's just not the same without you. I can't stand to be. Will you go with me? I can buy a $10,000 bicycle, and it's built for two. And let's spend our Saturday morning irritating people. Give me a break. That's the same couple that has a joint Facebook account right there. No man in the history of men has said, honey, I want to be on Facebook, but I'm not doing it unless you do a joint account with. That's never happened. That's never. Thus, the pussification. All right, I'm going to get off of it for a minute. I'm still a little jarred from all the cycling. These are the men that take their helmet off and put their hair up in a man bun. I'm telling you. Now, there's a lot of older people and big dudes, too. I mean, they got calves the size of a freaking canteen. But you're riding a bicycle. It's just silly. You look silly. All right. Also, another trend is there's a lot more fitness without strength training. They're more focused on how things look, the long, leaner body. There's not you don't have that big bug. I'm part of a gym, and I go in there and sit in the sauna. But anyway, on the way to the sauna, I see a few guys are really bulking up, but a lot of them, they look more like they're into yoga or Pilates rather than, just really, deadlifting or trying to be a lot stronger. It's more about the aesthetics and the mental building. Yeah. And then there's more individual and non-traditional sports. I love skateboarding. It's, I think it's cool for kids. I will kill myself on a skateboard because I really didn't have them. My first skateboard was a set of skates nailed to a 2x4. You can't get good skateboarding on that. But like individual sports like rock climbing, nothing wrong with that. But that's, and it's, my goodness, those guys, unbelievable. But you don't want to be big and bulky and over manly if you're going to scale. And the indoor stuff, the indoor climbing sports. Well, you can do it rain, snow, or, that'd be cool. But let's compare that to a pickup football game or rugby. Oh my goodness. Rugby is crazy. You're never going to hear me complain about rugby. Now, I may go out tonight and get my butt kicked by a cycler that says, there he is. That might happen. You'll never hear me accost a rugby player. But I also don't think the guy in rugby is going out and dressing up in a leotard and riding a bicycle around on the weekends. I think he's out there mixing it up. Yeah, much more manly. Then there's a lot less hunting and fishing. I noticed, I watch some shows on TV with that. And I grew up doing that and watching it. But now, I think they call them urban-based hobbies. Yeah. They don't like it when you hunt in the city. Yeah, well, whatever. And then, some of the gritty sports. I remember, when paintball was big, and paintball it was huge at the time. Probably, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and it's still out there. But in extreme sports, oh, goodness. I used to love to watch the X Games, and these people, man, they're out there risking it. It's crazy, but that's declined now. I don't know if you noticed that, but it has. Now you have ultimate frisbee and pickleball and climbing a wall indoors and safe, and you're connected with so the things that define masculinity are just much softer. And I am not criticizing people that do it. However, it is an indicator of a softening of the American male. Now, the main challenge that I have is the why. what has influenced that. When men are cowering down because of the influence of maybe the females in their life, that's when this becomes the pussification. Otherwise, they're just, hey, if you're into whatever you're into. Hey, if I like putting on a leotard and going around and pelotoning with a bunch of other guys, and by God, I never felt like more of a man. Well, do whatever you want, buddy. I love that. But if you'd rather be out playing rugby or, I don't know, day drinking with the boys or something, building something, build a fort. My dad always promised he'd build me a fort someday. I should go build a fort. I think I'm going to do. That's going to be a Saturday project coming up. A fort over the pool. I can jump off the. Anyway, whatever. The pussification part comes in when you're doing this stuff because of the influence or the forbidding or the pressure of a woman or women. Yoko Ono, what she did to the Beatles just because of her influence over John. And don't tell me it's not real. It's real. Poor Prince Harry. Prince Harry was a party animal. He loved Vegas, man. He liked to party. He liked women. He liked all these things that a bachelor prince. Can you imagine being a bachelor prince? Please. Then along comes Meghan. He had to give up the royal and the family jewels to her, and she wears the pants. This man has just been emasculated or pussified, whatever you're thinking. What about Will Smith? Will Smith, man, the Fresh Prince. He was great when he played Ali. Good Lord, that man was everybody, even men would say, that's a good looking man right there. Jada has ruined his masculinity. He has to go slap around Kid Rock to get attention, to take the attention off the fact that his wife is having sex with other men in front of him, in front of the kids, and having sex with her son's friend. Will, you've been pussified for sure. And now he's having to do crazy things to get over it. He's not going to get over it. Come on. And Giselle. I used to love Giselle back in the day when, yeah. But anyway, that one kind of backfired on her. She was married to the GOAT, whether you think he's the GOAT or not. She made him retire from football. And then he had a turnaround, came back and won another Super Bowl and ended the marriage. Well, hey, Tom's doing all right. But you can see her influence on him. So when that happens, those are high profile. Did you know that the majority of HR claims that come to firing or mediation or actual action, they happen because a wife hears about what's happened and pressures the husband into filing a grievance? Yeah. Yep. And I actually know of several that have happened like just that way. The man is going to handle it. No, it's just that, but he mentions it. Oh, I got it. I'll take care of it. And I mean, whether it's, it's usually a man has an altercation with another man, but sometimes a woman or whatever. And the wife shames him into doing something rather than handling it like a man. Go to HR. And that's what happens. It happens over and over. It changes people's lives when the wife throws a fit and makes him do a claim. That's, again, I don't blame the wife. He should stand up. I got this. I can't imagine my wife doing that. And I tell her everything. Not because I'm open and can communicate well. It's because I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't keep a secret. I'll listen in confidence and I won't tell anybody, but stuff I do, I'm an open book. I can never get away with anything. I know recently a practical joke between two guys. One got the better of it and the wife found out about it. Oh my goodness. It turned from everybody having a good life to a friendship almost ending and relationships ending because the wife just didn't like it. Come on. I don't blame the wife. I don't blame the wife at all. What is allowed will continue, and what's allowed to get worse is going to be a shitstorm. I know that. But relationships should not be dominated by either side. You know? These overbearing men, just as bad. Just as bad, but I go back to what I was saying earlier. I'm traditional enough to where I think the man should be the protector. The man should at least have a say, but I'm leaning more in that way. I will absolutely give my wife anything I can. I'll do anything I can for her. We don't tell each other that we can or can't do something. We find a way to make it happen. That is not the case out there, and that's why I believe the slow decline of men. Let me ask my wife. Let me ask her if I can go. The proper response is, let me check, make sure we're not doing something. Oh, now that's constant. Let me check and make sure that weekend's free. Let me check and blah, blah, blah. Not, let me ask my wife and see if I can. And then to come back and say, she said no. Are you out of your mind? Please. And see, people have different feelings about this. You go to the whole, and I'm not going to get on the political side and the woke stuff and the trans community and the men and women sports and equality, because I believe the equality is there. We can talk about specifics. I don't know one right that a man has that a woman doesn't. I'm not going to get into all that though. However, there are arguments as to why a less masculine society is harmful. I mean, I think these are well known, and the arguments are made for it. You have a decline in leadership and risk taking when men are less manly. Masculinity is associated with leadership and risk taking and a willingness to face danger. You know? Agree? Disagree? True. Women make great leaders. Some women take a lot of risks. Some women face danger better than I ever will. However, it's accepted that masculinity and a man will do some of these things better. You know, men are less, when a man becomes less inclined to take risks or take a leadership role, it causes more difficult challenges along the way, especially in business. You know, you can talk about politics and society and all of that. Most CEOs are men. Some great women CEOs, of course, because a good CEO is going to put a team around them made up of the best people. Men, women, young, old, blah, 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 blah. However, women tend to be risk averse. You know, they don't like to take risks. They don't like to face danger as much as men. I'm sorry, that's just the way it's built. And also, men have protective instincts. You know, protectors of our family, protectors of community. Most policemen are men. Most firemen, policemen are men. Firemen are men. A lot of that because they're the protectors. We want to. Society wants that. There are great female cops and female firemen. Female firewomen. That's fantastic. However, they're predominantly men. The fixers, the bricklayers, the plumbers, the construction workers, people building the highways, people building the skyscrapers, mostly men. Okay? And that's nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic. But when a society becomes less masculine, the protector instincts, they decline. Also, this may ruffle a few feathers. Men, they derive belonging and purpose from having a responsibility or some sort of competition. You know, physicality. That's part of being a man. You know, to have responsibility, to have to provide for a family. All right, we go out. You know, say free time. You know, the work, home, and play. The playtime, whether it's golf or rugby or pickleball or cycling. A real man loves that competition. He loves it. He wants to get better because he wants to perform. I think it's built in our DNA, and to do that, you be more physical. You know, you look at a couple of boys; they're wrestling around. That's just the way they're built, and with fewer situations where you can be a provider or a protector or a builder. Some men struggle with motivation. What's the use? You take me out to do some sport and I don't have something coming up. Like I don't have, I don't have something coming up that I'm going to have to show my ability. I'm going to half-ass it. You know? And so when men don't have these things to drive them, their depression rate goes up. They start drinking. Their addiction goes up. And they disengage. Men need that. They need it. We don't need to just sit around and smell our finger and talk about our feelings. You know, some that will do it for you, which shows a less manly society. If you're a man out there and that's what you like to do, okay, that's fantastic. Do it. All of society can't follow that trend because men need to be driven. They perform better when they're driven. And also this lack of manliness, it causes a lack of stability in the family. I mean, traditional roles, okay, but you show me a henpecked man. Henpecked, you know what that means? That's a man that can't, you know, his head's down and his wife has told him everything to do and everything he does is wrong and everything that's wrong is blamed on him. He doesn't get to make any of the decisions. That's just a horrible situation. That's a horrible situation. And the kids see it and it's horrible. You know, at least be equals. However, that less masculine person, when you look at it, the divorce rate is much higher. Women typically, they think they want a man that they can control, but you lose respect for that after a while. You know, women want traditional roles, and I get it. I get the whole feminist side, and I get, you know, I love strong women. But strong women, they don't like a weak, smarmy, mealy-mouthed, trembly man. They don't want that. And see, also, if you've got a weak man, well, already people are getting married later. They're having kids later, if at all. That's tough because there's no family. And we need strong men and strong women raising kids, staying together, showing them what love looks like and how the dad is the protector. And there's nothing wrong with being a man. Here's how you be a man. I love it. That impacts the child's development. If you're not helping your kids, you're hurting your kids. And then I think one of the biggest things, the harmful about the pussification of the American male is they're just not tough. And I probably got going to have a line of people outside the house or outside my restaurant. You know, people wanting to prove how tough they are. Please, this is not that big of a deal. But they're not. They're not taught to be tough anymore. Traditional masculinity, perseverance, control your emotions, be tough. When you're facing adversity, we got this. Confidence, all the things that would be called toxic masculinity by the crazy wacko feminists. It's not toxic at all. It's taking care of the ones you love and leading through some tough times. Any society that discourages that or tries to avoid tough times, you're building a weak society. You need to be tough physically and mentally for those around. Instead, we get discouraged and offended and, hardship. Come on. Buckle up, man. Let's get it done. But when all of that is okay, you don't win. You don't succeed. You don't take risks. That's what's wrong with the pussification of America. I mean, you got a bunch of henpecked, pussified men who are scared to come up with an original thought and horrified at the thought of bucking what the strong-willed woman in their life wants them to do. I'm not blaming the woman. Again, I said it again. So if we were to decide, and I'm seeing trends, let's get that masculinity back. Let's pull it back and do it in a way that everybody wins. How about that? How would we go about doing it? Now I'm seeing it in certain areas. I'm seeing some traditional. I think it starts with traditional values. Honestly, you have to reevaluate masculinity. It's not so bad, and the people who are against masculinity and call it toxic instead of it's a necessary positive force, that's a problem. The media, entertainment, influencers, all these social media, you're killing them. You're killing the American male. You're not going to anymore because we're starting to see a backlash. The whole women in sports. Men have to stand up and say, no, that's not right. I've seen records broken, and they're going to stand, I'm afraid, where no woman will ever beat that swim record or that marathon record. A man just ran in a women's marathon, and the difference in time, no woman will ever break that. And it's not because women aren't equal. They should be equal in their opportunity. Physically, they're not. And I don't even want to talk about it because it's a ridiculous argument. But this talk socially, it's got to stop. And it is starting to stop. When you talk about, no, men and women, they are different. Duh, newsflash. So they are. Men are more masculine. They should be. They have more testosterone. They should. They are dominant in some things. They should be. We need women's strengths to help us, but let us protect and take risks and fight. Go with us, but let us do that. So that whole cultural reevaluation, it's okay to be a man. It's not toxic to be masculine. And I'm seeing some changes in that. Also, there's some economic and workforce changes that favor physical and risk-taking jobs. Economy. If a company and a whole economy is based on playing it safe, it's not gonna survive. But even in the workforce, if you need physical labor, you have technology and that's great, but you will always need some physical labor, some craftsmanship. Right now, that's why you see all the trades, 100% placement. 100% placement, and they're trying to get more people in that. I talked about that, the difference in getting a desk job behind a computer or going out and learning a trade. The skills, the skilled trades, military. Enrollment in the military is going back. Enlistment in the military, it's going back up. That's fantastic. We're seeing more firemen and policemen. They're doing that again. That's fantastic. Manufacturing jobs, people are actually doing the physical work. That takes masculinity. More that happens, the more men are encouraged to take some of these traditional roles. Economically, we're going to be better, and the men are going to be stronger. And you know what? These masculine men that I'm talking about, they treat ladies well. They treat ladies like a lady. Now, if you don't, you're just a prick, and you're going to get yours. I'm not saying be dominating, be masculine. No, take risks. Be a leader. Take care of your family. Protect women. You don't see... I see a lot more videos now of people standing up for women in public. They might not even be their wife, but you don't do that. I'm hearing it in songs. You don't cuss around that kid, and you don't rough a woman up. Don't be cussing around a kid or a lady. I think the name of that song is Sometimes You Got to Whoop a Man's Ass. I love that because that's masculine. That's not man bun in the corner trying to write a haiku. Give me a break. And also, there's a shift in education and parenting. Boys raised, I realize broken homes, it's tough. And some homes need to be broken because it's a bad marriage. I get that. But when they have strong role models, boys, they learn discipline. They learn the value of competition. They learn how to be tough. My goodness, you don't have to... They skin their knee. You don't have to take them to a one-on-one with their therapist to learn how to properly and mentally scab correctly. Get in there, man. Rough it up. It's okay. But a lot of that comes from a strong male in their life. And if it's not their dad, another strong male. That's important because it's good for them. Don't encourage them to be passive. Or overly cautious. Be safe, but come on. Schools and families, if they emphasized leadership. I remember we had, I don't know about leadership, but the physical activity. Oh my goodness, our PE classes way back when, they were brutal. Now, I think they just roll a ball out, or it's optional, or if you don't have to take PE, that's a good thing. I don't know. But there's no accountability if you don't have strong men around. Yeah, women can keep you accountable, but they're not in the same way. Women, I believe, can't effectively show a young man how to be a man. Hate me for it. This is how I think. And yeah, I'm traditional. I am traditional. I am very traditional. Another thing. Digital lifestyles. Now, I love it. Man, I never got into video games, so I didn't even have Pong. And that's fine. All my friends did. And my son, I got him all the consoles, and they still play all the time, and it's great. And I love that. I think it teaches a lot of skills you're not going to find otherwise. But I don't think it should replace physical activity. Yeah, you're using your mind, you're using all sorts. It builds some skills, but it's not a physical challenge. I think it shouldn't replace that. And I also think if you have a strong man in your life, they're going to challenge their sons to do things. They're going to challenge their daughters to do things. I've talked about the impact a strong man has on influencing the son. My goodness, a strong man has a great impact on how to teach their daughter how to pick a man or how to be treated right, manners, all of those things. How a man treats his wife shows a daughter how to be expected to be treated. That's a wonderful thing. I'm talking masculine now, but I don't want to leave that out. So, and there's a lot of crises out there. I think it requires masculine traits. History has taught us, whether it's wars or social unrest, all kinds of things out there you see. It needs a man. I see these riots and stuff, and you need strong men to control bad behavior physically. I saw a fight the other night. It was a skirmish. It was a skirmish between a couple of guys in NBA. Well, they were talking earlier about 2 female referees for the first time. You know, you got these 7-foot guys and these 5'3" women. They can do a great job calling the game. Don't get me wrong. When that skirmish happened, they were getting thrown around like rag dolls. I don't think it's safe for them. Plus, they can't physically handle the job. So sometimes when a crisis happens, whether it's a riot, whether it's war, and you have to go kill people and break things, masculine traits are necessary. They are. And masculine traits are also courage and strength and leadership. Women can have those as well. It's more likely that men are going to embrace those first, as, in my opinion, as they should. It's traditional masculinity. Nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, there's a lot right with it. And on a large-scale crisis, we need the traditional skills of females. We need them so badly. But also, it's okay to be a man. Come on. Put on your big boy pants. So, you know, all of this, I can see people coming back to common sense a little bit in the situation, you know, for the masculine. I'll do one on feminine. I'll do it coming up because I love women. I love them. They, in my early years, I mean, my dad, but also Papa, I was so influenced by my grandmother and my mother. It's fantastic. And their influence is you can't, I wouldn't take anything for it. But sometimes you need a man to take over and take control for the good of everybody. This may be upsetting to some of you. I can see some trends. Thus, the depussification of American male. It's happening. We're getting stronger again. And we can work together. And if we can just totally rid the man bun, if we can have fewer cyclers taking up my space with their little outfits on, if we can have more, I'll say tennis, rugby, instead of pickleball, and if we can just quit acting so emotional and like everything is such an emotional crisis around our mental health, let's toughen up. Strong men raise strong men, and strong men draw people that need that strength. Let's toughen up. Let's depussify the American male, and we'll all be better off for it. Now I'm either going to go to the gym or the gun club, and you can do whatever is on your schedule for the day. But I appreciate you hanging out with me for the last 45 to 50 minutes. Hit me up at dave@otalks.com or david@otalks.com, or just go to otalks.com and see what's happening. I know this is going to get some chatter going, so let me know. Let me know, and then I'll come back for the ladies on the next one. How about that? All right. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. Most of all, thanks for O-Talking with Dave, and giddy up.